The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich, and I'm going to be your host. And tonight we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, a great actor, Mr. Noah Forrest.
Thanks,
Noah,
Alan.
welcome to the show.
It's an honor to be on your program.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. I mean, I've always enjoyed your acting, and you're such a good partner in acting. That
Yeah, we've worked together a couple of times now, and usually in the gangster genre.
That's true, or in the sci-fi genre.
Absolutely, we did sci-fi as well.
Yeah, so that's it. So when did you start acting? I'm curious. How did you get into the whole acting game?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, as you know, this is an industry that you don't choose, it chooses you.
That's
You're
true.
drawn to it. Right. It becomes a passion, and then eventually it becomes a drug that you can't live without.
That's true.
But for me, the route I took is not the route I would advise anyone to take. Okay, I would advise people to work on your craft early and pursue it. I had the intention, or the impression that is, that I would just show up and people would care. I'd walk in the room and that would be it, and I'd get what I wanted and I'd get the opportunities. Right. Now at first, the way I went about it was to test myself. I got Backstage magazine and I found out where the cattle calls would be, the open calls, because I wanted to see if I could compete in the industry. Right. And so I'd show up and there'd be a line around the block, there'd be 100 guys and they all thought they were the man. And I'd go in and I'd get the part, and that was encouraging because I felt like maybe I could stand out and get some opportunities. And that's how it started for me, and I started going to auditions that way, and I booked a couple of jobs and eventually found my way into a couple of leads which made their way to cable, etc.
Do you remember your first job?
My first job was actually with a company you've worked with, Trauma.
Oh, really?
Trauma was doing something called the Trauma System. It was a system that was being marketed towards men to make them, great with the ladies. If you follow their advice, you're going to have all these beautiful women jumping around. And on set, there were a lot of beautiful women jumping all over the place, trust me. The Toxic Avenger was there as well. And I was just a guy. I was there wearing a tank top, and I was hanging out with these girls, and it was basically silly. But that was my first, if you will, exposure to being on camera in a way and trying to see how I looked.
But, I don't know how to say this except that you do have like the leading man looks, and I've seen you on screen and all this stuff, and working with you, and you have this confidence that I wish I had on screen. I mean, and you bring out the confidence in other actors, definitely.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I think that I have, you say leading man, I can carry a film. Right. I've done it on 2 occasions. I'd like it to be more. Right. I've done it on a couple occasions, but the classic leading man role, I think I fit into a specific genre. You look at films like Payback, Mel Gibson, the guy who has an agenda where people are going to get hurt, where there's kind of an intensity that doesn't need to be stated, but it just exists. I think within those realms, within those elements, I can do that as well as anybody. Right. But, I haven't had the opportunity to play the perfect part for me. Of course, that's why I keep trying.
So what do you think the perfect part would be for you?
Well, I look at some of the great films where the characters are very intense, but they're somewhat understated. I mean, let's be clear. Yeah. I'm not going to get a call from Broadway to do Hamlet. Okay, I'm not doing Hamlet on Broadway, but I'm okay with that. But you look at a film like one of my favorite films of all time was The Road Warrior with Mel Gibson. A very intense character in a very adverse situation. And he doesn't say much, but he doesn't have to. It's understood what's happening. And that kind of role where I can minimalize the moments of impact and just let my presence show what the character needs to do. Because I kind of smolder a little, I kind of build up. You don't see long monologues in films anymore. Right. I want it to be understood why I'm there. I want the environment to blend in with what my character's doing.
But even, we worked on Stunades together.
Correct.
And I mean, that had elements of both like mobsters and comedy.
Right.
And you have very good comedic timing. I was very impressed with your performance. And even one look, you can make a look and just the utilization of your voice I was just totally blown away by
Well,
your
you did a great job on that as well, Alan. So let's give credit where it's due. And we had fun working on that.
That was fun. That was good.
It was a good environment. It was the set wasn't intense. Everybody it was more like a family working together on something, which is always the best situation.
The family.
Right, the family. I was dipping the bread in the sauce, and you were reaching for the frying pan.
It smacked you in the face.
And you hit me with it. I still haven't forgotten that. But
That's it.
But no, that was great.
So you said that you were a leading man a few times.
Right.
What was? I know that there's one film that actually has international ramifications, and it was A Kid Called Danger.
A Kid Called Danger was a film I did back in the 90s, late 90s, just at the end of the 90s. And
Right.
it has kind of a cult following online now. It was geared towards a younger audience. They were going for a G rating, but because I was so intense, it got a PG rating, which is fine with me. Mm-hmm. But it's about a bunch of kid detectives that foil a crime. I escape from jail to go get these diamonds I hid in my niece's teddy bears. It's a very intense plot. But the film opens with me running from the cops, which is my favorite part of the film, that whole action sequence in the beginning. So that was probably, at that time, something that really encouraged me and felt like I could move forward from there. Another one I did that is also in the marketplace overseas and not here is something I did called Last Night at Eddie's. And I play a guy who runs a pizzeria on the beach. I play a guy named Gino. I'm a real hard case. I'm mean to everybody. I'm cracking the whip, get to work. I've got girls in the stockroom. And, this was made by a guy who was a very successful director at NYU. He was like the top student there. He had a big deal with William Morris. This was going to be his Porky's, the comedy that was done on a budget. And you can make a lot of money with a comedy on a budget, as you can with a horror film.
That's true.
But it only went overseas. It hasn't done anything domestically.
So how did you get A Kid Called Danger? I mean, because I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen the action sequence, and you're great in it. So how did that come your way?
That was interesting because I was actually on my way to L.A. Okay, I was driving to L.A. and I was going to show up and things were going to happen. That was my impression. I'd just show up, but obviously that's not the case. I stopped on the way in Salt Lake City. And I said, I wonder what the film environment is here. And there were actually two films coming in. That one and one by Treat Williams, The Substitute 3, which I had a callback for. I didn't get that. But the following week, I booked this film, partially because when I went into audition, I cursed at the audition. Okay, now, this was supposed to be a G-rated film. Mm-hmm. And I go into the audition, and I like to improv a little bit. So I started adding a little bit of my own self there, little New York street talk. And they were like, well, we didn't expect this, but it worked. That's why I got the part. Of course, in the film, there's no curse.
And where did they film it?
We filmed it exclusively in Utah. We filmed it all over Salt Lake, a place called Provo. We filmed in the canyons. So it was shot exclusively in the state of Utah.
Wow. Did you do your own stunts? Or
I did a lot of my own stunts now.
Right.
Now, I recently posted a behind-the-scenes video I filmed. There was a 75-foot crane jump that I wanted to do. But they said, look, you do a 75-foot crane jump and you sprain your ankle, then you screw up the whole shooting schedule. Right. They let me do all the scenes of me running through the mountains as me. Okay? So,
that's it. I mean, let's take a look at the trailer for...
I actually have that.
You have it? Okay, so we're going to take a look at the trailer for A Kid Called Danger. Okay?
You're busted!
Dane McGuire dreamed of growing up to be a cop, just like his dad.
Stay put. Keep the doors locked.
But he just couldn't wait that long.
As of right now, you are on suspension.
So when a diamond thief comes back from the dead,
They told me you were dead.
Danger McGuire is on the case.
So if we can prove that Conley's not dead and lead the cops to the diamonds, we're gonna split the money 4 ways.
To catch a thief, you've got to think like a thief.
I love steakhouse.
What are the diamonds worth?
Millions. Rock and roll.
Catch. Get him, killer!
Apex Entertainment is proud to present an exciting adventure for the whole family.
Danger. Isn't that a cool name?
A Kid Called Danger. Apex Entertainment. We make the movies your customers want to rent.
I'm having fun.
How cool is that?
Well, it was a lot of fun.
I know, it looks exciting, and it's available on...
It's available on DVD, on eBay, Amazon. Right. I mean, you can pretty much buy it anywhere, and you can buy it in several different languages, if that's your preference.
And you still look the same as you did back in 19 whatever.
Oh, wait a minute. I mean, I have people posting online, wow, you looked great back then.
Nah,
Wow, you look great back then.
You still look great. You still
I
look
try to
great.
keep it together, you know, because
That's
you
it.
never know when the opportunity is going to come, right?
That's true.
Isn't that the way actors are?
Oh.
Maybe the opportunities now.
Well, you know, I find myself even like, if I know I have a shoot like 2 weeks from now, I won't have a cocktail or something like that, or I
Right.
won't eat that extra roll or something
Right.
like that, because you never know, you know.
You
You want to
get-
just, you get that certain health, or
You
at
get a
least,
little obsessed with things.
That's true.
Of a, you know, how you look, you know, things like that. And, you know, I don't think it's a good thing to always have that on your mind.
Right.
But in this business, it really has to be an element of how you go about your daily life.
Right.
You get an opportunity, you want to look good.
I mean, you work out. I mean, you
Keep in shape, yeah.
Right, and I mean, but do you think? I mean, I know for me, acting helps me stay in shape because I'm always thinking about like
Right.
keeping myself going because I know I'm going to do it for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I might as well try to keep my tool, you know, together in my body. You know.
It is a lifestyle choice,
That's it.
being in this business. It's not, you know, if somebody came to me and said, I'm thinking about trying to get into the film business, what do you think? And now if you have to ask me, it's probably not for you.
Right, that's true.
Because you don't wake up one day and say, and my grandmother used to say this to me, God rest her soul, why did you pick that business? You couldn't do anything else. If you put as much energy into anything else, you would have succeeded. But you had to pick the hardest thing. Why? I said, look, I didn't choose it.
Right.
For some reason, I feel like I need to do it. And when I'm doing it,
No, I'll tell
That's
you.
the top.
I mean, the scenes that we actually shared together were in Stunad's. I have to go back there, and you were great. I mean, and you really did. I mean, the intensity, and then the vulnerability, and then all this other stuff that came out. I mean, it was just there's all these different colors, and you know,
Well,
it was great.
we'll probably get more opportunities.
I hope so.
We did do cybernetics together, science
Yeah,
fiction
we
film.
did, but that, you know, we weren't in the same.
But there's conversation,
I
and
know.
maybe another one down the road.
yeah,
We'll
there's
see
going to
how
be
that goes.
cybernetics too, and I know that Dwayne Buckle, the director,
Right.
was very complimentary of you. And,
I liked working on that. I think he had a good vision, and
Yes.
you know, I applaud and commend anybody
Right.
who does it, because as you know, in this business, a lot of people talk.
Right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But people that actually get out and do it, I have 100% respect for.
So you started another feature as well, correct?
I mentioned that a couple minutes ago.
Yes.
It was called Last Night at Eddie's, but
Right.
it's like, interesting story. I had to buy the DVD from Greece.
Right.
So I called up the Greek company that distributes it.
Yes.
I'm on the phone. I'm like, I'd like to order the film. My name's on the poster. It's on the box. I mean, we could flash a picture of that.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm Noah Forrest. My name's on the box. I want to order the box. And I want to order the film. Okay. Give him my address. 3 months later, film comes in the mail. It's a region 2, though. We're region 1.
Right.
You have to reset the computer to play it. You can't play it on DVD players unless you get a DVD player that has no regionality.
Okay.
And you can buy those.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that was interesting. That was a good experience for me, but I learned a lot. When I watch these films, I'm like, sometimes I have to stop and say, why did I do it that way?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you learn and you get better as you go along. That's the point.
Right.
But sometimes when you watch these things,
But that was also, you know, I mean, you're growing all the time. I mean, you're learning from this.
and that was an open call too. And that was an open call in Boston.
Oh my God.
I went to Boston. There was about 100 guys outside for that one too. And once again, every guy thinks they're a man.
Absolutely.
And then, I'm the guy that's going to get it. So I ended up getting that, and that was.
How cool is that? I mean, that happened only once to me, and where I went to an open call and I got it, and it was an Hitachi commercial in Hollywood,
right.
and it was like, it's almost like a dream, you know. It's like
It's magical.
I know.
But once again, it's magical in a drug way, because you know, where's the next fix coming from?
I know. That's the problem.
And
with
that's
this
the problem with
business.
this business, right? And that's why I say it's not necessarily a choice you make.
Right.
It kind of grabs a hold of you. And sometimes I wish I could just say, hey, I don't need it.
See, but you're too
don't-
good. That's the problem, and
I crave it, man. You got to have it.
that's it. And so you've done a lot of you've worked on television shows and
Right.
and other films. But what genre do you like the best in terms of?
I love the gangster genre.
Yeah.
I love the gangster and period pieces. I love. You know, I'm doing a little work on Boardwalk Empire now.
I know.
I'm one of Capone's gangsters. I'm just like one of his regular guys, but I'm not a credited guy.
Right.
But I'm there. It's a first-class production. There's no place I'd rather be.
And we're going to flash a picture of you. I want to
Yeah.
put one of the because you look like talk about period piece.
But
And
when
you look
you-
like the gangster.
When you get in
Right.
to those clothes,
Right.
you get the hat, you get the tie pin,
Yeah.
and you walk on the set, and you see all the work they did to recreate the 1920s. I mean, that is real magic. Right. You're right up close seeing it, and you know that's the environment you want to exist in.
Absolutely.
And if you could exist in that environment professionally and have it be your livelihood,
That's it.
I mean, that's just the dream come true right there.
So, do you think you'll be doing it for the rest of your life, or?
In some capacity, yeah.
Yeah.
In some capacity, even if I was to gravitate to something else. You know, I've worked in production before. I've managed marketing campaigns that matched products and celebrities at events. I've done some things that were lucrative in other ways,
Right.
but none of them are satisfying. I've also done some news reporting, some freelance.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Thinking that might give me the same kind of creative satisfaction. It just doesn't, though.
But you were good. I mean, I saw some of your clips, and
My news
you
work.
look really intense.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's
funny.
great.
But you know what? Editing a news package is a skill.
Right.
I'm glad I can do it. But it's not the same as it's not a creative environment, really. Even though you're creating the news piece,
Right.
you're directing it, you're picking the shots. It's not the same thing. It just, for me, it doesn't. Now I'm not knocking it.
Right.
It just didn't have the same kind of.
It's a rush, right?
It wasn't the same kind of rush. No,
That's it.
not at all.
That's it. So you did what is it? It's the Mobster. What's it called? I forgot the name of the show.
Oh, I Married a Mobster.
That's it. I Married a Mobster. And that's a more recent.
That was on last year.
Right.
It's going to go into syndication in terms of distribution. I mean, it'll go to Netflix. The first season aired on OWN, Oprah's network, so I'm assuming the second season will air there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show that recreates the stories, real life stories of women who were married to mobsters. And that was a lot of fun. There was more acting in that than I thought, because usually recreation stuff
Right.
doesn't have a lot of acting. It's more a moment here, you're picking up a glass. This, they let us do some acting in this. We were actually becoming the characters and playing out some things that were pretty intense.
Now, how did you get that part?
I got that part. Somebody mentioned that I would be good for it. So I received an email, would you like to come in and audition?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the city, auditioned. It took them about 2 months before they told me that this is the character, this is the episode. So, but I enjoyed working on that. The people were great, and I really enjoyed that. Man, I got some good feedback from that.
Actually, we have a clip of that, don't we?
We have the promo,
Oh, okay.
and so let's
Yeah,
definitely show it.
Okay, so let's take a look at this promo, okay?
All new I Married a Mobster. Marianne loved being a gangster's wife until a mafia scandal turns her good fella husband very bad.
I was just frozen in fear.
Love gone wrong. All new episodes next Wednesday beginning at 9.
You are the man. What can I say, you know?
You're being too kind.
No,
come
it's
on, come on. It's like 15 seconds.
I know, but it's
I
15
like the
seconds.
scene where I sit down and I kind of like emote around the room. I'm like looking around. See this. The scene was I just came back and left her at the restaurant.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
like,
cool. It's on TV. You know, it's
I enjoyed
great.
it.
I mean, it's wonderful, and it's so cool. So, what does the future hold for you in terms of? Do you have any projects coming
Well,
down the
the
pipe?
future, I think, a natural gravitation would be into production, producing a film, owning the rights to it, in distribution, and everything that entails. I have a script that won a lot of awards. But, you know, in Hollywood, having a script that won awards doesn't mean it's going to get produced, because that's not how movies are made now. Typically, a lead actor, a big shot like Tom Hanks will say, I'm going to make this movie, the movie gets made.
Right.
In the old studio system, the studios told the actors what was being made. Now it's different. So it's not necessarily whether a script is good or not. So sometimes to get something made, you have to self-produce, like
Right.
some of the great filmmakers like Robert Rodriguez did El Mariachi, and, you know, Ed Burns did Brothers McMullen. You have to take control of your future, and I think that's the future.
So, how are you going to get from point A to point B? I mean,
Point A to point B is a good question. It's about ambition overcoming economics.
right.
But economics is the key.
I know.
There's nothing you can't do if you have enough money to do it.
Right.
Okay? And to make a movie these days for 500,000 people say it can't be done, you can't do it. Well, you can, because not everyone's shooting on film anymore. The 2 features I did were shot on film. Now everything's digital.
Right.
So it can be done, and I'm very optimistic it will be done. And when it does get done, There's a part for Alan Bendich.
Oh, thank you so much. And I can't wait, you know.
Why not?
I'll be the dad.
No, we're going to give you some action.
Okay, that's cool.
This typecasting of you as the dad is not working.
Yeah, but sometimes the dad could be an interesting part.
It can be very lucrative too.
That's it.
You're in a lucrative area right
I know. I'm the demographic that works a lot, you know. Cause,
right.
Because
Sure.
they're always looking for some old dude who still has a little spunk left in them. But you know, a lot of people who get to be my age have already given up the you know, the dream. You know.
Well, you know, but you don't have to.
I know.
Because you have two things happening. You have this as a very potentially lucrative hobby,
Right.
and you got a real career.
That's it. And it's good. It's good to have both. And you even came up with some. You're also an idea man. I mean, you came up with some ideas even about this show that I'm gonna, you know, really pursue. I mean,
Should we mention it, or we're not supposed to?
well, no, I think maybe you can mention a little bit. But
I said it would be good for you to get a little local exposure in print,
it.
maybe.
That's it.
You know, get a little activity going.
Why not? A little word of mouth doesn't hurt.
Sure, why not?
It would be, and especially with all the talent that I bring, talent like you to the show.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's interesting. It's, I think, I enjoy the show. You know, and I enjoy watching it, not just because I'm watching my friends who are really talented individuals talking. You know, it's great.
But hosting a show is not something that should be taken lightly either. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
I did some political talk show hosting. You have to be on your toes.
Right.
Improv skills work great.
Right.
You can't have dead air.
That's true. And but to me, it is kind of easy, only because it's a conversation. You
Right.
know? And when you respect the people that you're talking with and you're friendly with them, you know, it might not be easy, but it's natural.
You'd be surprised at how many people freeze up, you know. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person, because when the cameras are on, some people just go dead. They
That's
can't,
true.
they, you know, and that's, you know, that's tough. I mean, sometimes I forgot lines once on set, and I started cursing. I'm like, God damn, you know.
Yeah.
But it happens, man.
Yeah, things happen, but it's still, I enjoy this. I enjoy this format. I enjoy talking with my friends, and it's it. So I hope Cybernetics 2 really does get made, because I think, you know, General McGregor, and what was your character?
I was Scientist Palladino.
Right, and I think, you know, they're going to have to bring it back. I hope so.
He's got a great idea there.
Right.
He's got a great concept. The concept is solid.
Right.
The idea is solid.
Right.
It's all about execution.
That's it. And I think, you know, with the fact that it's on Netflix now, the original Cybernetics, he might be able to get, you know, I think to a certain extent a lot of that was self-funded though for Cybernetics.
Probably. Yeah.
So I think he might be able to get additional funding. I hope. I got my fingers crossed, because I think that it's really going to be good. He talked about it on this show actually.
Right.
With it, you know, where he's going to have like puppetry in it, which I think would be interesting.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Well, that's the independent spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and that started with Sundance, and Redford built Sundance Festival, and then we had Blair Witch, which started a modern day film gold rush.
That's true.
That was the apex. Now that grossed over $100 million, and people started grabbing their cameras. Right. But that's part of it, man. That's part of it.
Wow. So we should open up a production company together.
At some point,
That
that's
would be
probably
nice.
a good idea.
That would be good. So I'm looking forward to everything. I look forward to the future. I think the future now is so wide open, and there's so much opportunities for actors like us
There
who
are.
really care.
Well, with the web and all of the channels, and you, like I said, the recreation programs,
Right.
there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I've done a recreation program where it was really interesting. It was done by like a Japanese team of television people, and it was really, everything was
What
over
show
the
was
top.
that?
It was the most
Incredible Stories or something?
News. There's something.
News, yeah.
The most incredible news.
Right.
It's recreations of like American terrible things that happen, and this was about these. I forgot which. It was one kind of disease that, you know, like I forgot which one it was, but it was, and you had to just be as crazy as possible. And of course, I was like the most nuttiest guy who was going nuts, and they loved it.
So it was a Japanese crew.
It was a Japanese crew.
Were they local, or did they come?
They came from no, they're from Japan. They only spoke Japanese.
Wow.
But they lived, you know, they were stationed in New York.
So
and,
they have a production company base here.
right. That's correct.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And I got that through JT. I don't know, you know JT? John Thomas. He's an interesting person. He's someone who I met when I was screening Purification, the movie. He was sitting right next to me. He said, "Are you in a movie?" And I said, "Yeah. Look, I'm the guy who's playing the priest."
Was he like a casting director?
He's
for
a
it?
casting. Well, he's getting even more and more casting director, but he's more like a manager and things like that. And I've gotten some interesting things. Stories from Astoria was one of the things I got from it. Right. But I also got something called The Psychotics and
Right.
a couple of other interesting shows.
You have quite a bit going on.
Yeah, things are good, and I guess we'll be able to talk about
We're
that.
going to talk
later.
about that. Yes, we're going to reverse.
Yes, that's going to be a first too. You're going to be the first person who guest hosted on our show.
Well,
that's it.
To say I'm honored would be an understatement. I mean,
It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. So, you know, I'm really happy that you really did come on the show, and I hope you can come on the show again. I mean, in the future.
absolutely. I anticipate you doing more of this.
Right.
I'm anticipating this becoming a bigger opportunity, and
Yeah.
you know what? I'll be happy to come back.
And I'd be happy to have you here. And a matter of fact, well, you're going to come back next week,
Well, I got to have something to talk about. It takes me a while to get something going.
Yeah, but you're going to be talking to me. You know?
I'm not on the big director's Rolodex, Alan. They're not like, hey, what's Noah Forrest on?
Yeah, but I'll tell you though, I know the people that I've worked with that have worked with you that, I mean, they all love your work, and it's so intense. But you know, you have such a presence on the screen. I mean, look at this. You got this intensity, you know. And when you look at someone, like
That's what I got. Yeah, I can
you know
deliver a
that.
message without saying it.
Exactly, and that's that subtleness that you talked about earlier, where you know, like it's action and it's intensity,
Right.
and it's Mel Gibson and that kind of thing. You know, that look, the Clint Eastwood, less is more kind of.
Clint Eastwood, the classic stare of Clint Eastwood is, you know, that's legendary. You can build a career on that, but
Yeah, that's it. But there's only one Clint Eastwood. But
Yeah.
maybe there's only one Noah Forrest.
well, that's the
as
thing
well.
as individuals,
Right.
individuality. There's only one Alan Bendich. There's only one me, and that's what you can bring. And if they're looking for you, they're not going to find it anywhere else.
Okay. Well, no, I can't believe that we've come to the end of the show.
Well, it's been great, man.
And
Time
really,
flew by.
I really appreciate it.
Honored to be here.
And
Love to do it again.
and that's a wrap. Good night.